Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Vishnu Durga from Action Coach Guyana. I'm the who's who in Guyana business. And as you know, we're reaching out to various businesses across the country to find out how they are dealing with the current situation, how they are able to serve their clients and people who really need them at this point in time. And today I have the pleasure of talking to an organization that is considered a very essential service at this point in time. And the organization is represented by Ms. Deborah Ramsey. She's from St. Joseph Mercy Hospital. Welcome, Deborah.
Thank you very much for having me, Vishnu.
Very welcome, very welcome. Can you tell us a little bit about the background of Mercy Hospital for those people who may not be aware?
Sure. St. Joseph Mercy Hospital, which is the company that's attached to Catholic Hospital Incorporated. We are a not-for-profit hospital, and we are run by a board of directors. The Sisters of Mercy play a very important part, being one of the main people who actually started this hospital. And we are governed by a board of directors headed by the bishop, the bishop of Guyana, of the Catholic Church in Guyana, and an executive who actually do the day-to-day running of the organization. We, as a hospital, I mean, we've been here 75 years. We had so many plans for this year, for our 75th, but COVID has taken away most of those plans. As it is, the Sisters of Mercy are celebrating this month and observing their 125th anniversary, but there's nothing much we can do about that in terms of having a formal activity. We had a mass yesterday, but that's the way it goes because COVID has declared that everybody must stay home. So as an essential service, we have to do our part in making sure that people continue to be healthy and observe what needs to be observed for the nation.
So what I also wanted to find out is at this particular time, what is the hospital doing to ensure the additional safety measures? So if you can let me know a little bit of that so people can be very aware.
Sure. Well, when this COVID virus we got wind of it, the hospital took a few measures immediately. And one of those measures was to actually, on the 11th of March, we actually put a tent to the front of our campus, the entrance to the hospital. And that tent was known as a wellness tent, or is known as a wellness tent. So any visitor coming into the hospital or any staff coming into the hospital must stop at that tent, do the hand washing techniques or the hand rubbing techniques, because we have in place in the tents portable hand rubbing machines. Now you do those hand rubbing techniques, which are taught to you if you don't know them, and your temperature is taken. When your temperature is taken and you do not have a flu or a fever, what we do is just ask a few questions of the visitor or staff or supplier, just to ensure that they weren't in any area that was might have had a situation where they had a group of people who were ill or might have had the COVID-19 and they were not aware, or they may be aware and didn't worry to take any precautions. Now, these were the early days, so nobody was taking any precautions. So when we have completed that exercise and the person is deemed okay to go through to the hospital, they're given a visitor's badge, and the staff is given a staff badge. I can display mine here. The visitor's badge allows them to go into the hospital, and of course the security normally checks to make sure whoever's in the hospital is wearing a badge, regardless of whether they're a visitor or staff, because they would have known you've passed through the tent, the first tent. Now, if someone is not feeling well, and the first tent has picked up that they may have a fever, or they complain they need to see the doctor but they're not feeling well, we have an outdoor emergency room tent, which goes to a separate gate at the hospital, and we actually let the patients go over to that gate where an emergency room doctor is there to actually look after them. Now, when the emergency room doctor, because somebody might have a tummy ache or might have some light thing and they might have gotten a fever with it, once they're determined that the doctor determines that this person is okay to go into the emergency room, they're immediately sent there because, of course, aches and pains and different things are different. It's not it's not COVID related, but we just have to protect the staff as well as the other patients in our hospital. It's a safety measure. And that has been working very well because we're now over a month, or I used to say almost 6 weeks into these tents, and it's been working very well.
All right, so that's extremely good to hear. Do you plan on rolling out any other services soon to ensure that Guyana does have enough options?
Yeah, so we have been given permission to actually run a facility that we have decided, and through His Lordship the Bishop, he has granted us a facility so that we can use as an isolation center for COVID-19 patients. Now we are now rolling that out, and we're to have our inspection. I think it's going to be done today or tomorrow. And once the inspection is finished, we now have to just prepare the center for patients. In the meantime, we are awaiting our kits because we are also given the green light to do testing. Now, we do have the equipment which we had here for the last 2 years because we are required to use this equipment to do other medical testing for one of our clients. So we use it all the time. So that is a PCR, state-of-the-art PCR equipment that actually can do the any virus detection. And we are now waiting on the kits to do the COVID-19 kits, so we can actually have that the swabbing done and determine whether the patient is positive or negative. Now, what is going to happen at this new facility, which is on Vryheeds Lust, we are going to as I said, we're now finishing the construction of it because we had to modify it for a hospital environment, so to speak. We will not be housing any patients that have to be on a ventilator because ventilator equipment has to be in a specific environment. So we are going to house patients who have COVID and but are not displaying respiratory problems in terms of they can't breathe, because that's an area that has to go directly to the Georgetown Hospital because they have a facility with ventilators to actually look after those patients. So that is going to be, you're going to hear more about it in the very near future as we actually get it established, and we hope to get it completed next week. It coincides with the arrival of our testing kits.
Thank you. And these testing kits, from my understanding as well, they're kits that will determine if you have COVID, but will you also be offering the test that determines if you may have had COVID and you already recovered?
Well, the technical aspect of the kits determined because it's a swab test. It tells you that you have the virus at the moment or you do not.
Okay.
But what I need to add here is most people are anxious to be tested, and they may not display any symptoms, but I know they're anxious to be tested. Of course, that is strictly a medical situation with a lab. Now, I need to reassure people that sometimes when you are finished and you have recovered from COVID-19, you may want to go back to work, and your employer might say, well, you have it, I don't know if you're clear of it. So what the hospital will be doing at that center is giving the patients who are in there their final test, and it will show that they are negative and give a certificate that says they are free of COVID-19 virus.
All right, so that's going to be very helpful because we can already see in some countries that is one of the prerequisites now to either return to work or visit certain places.
It's a return to work certificate, so to speak.
So over the past 3 weeks, we would have spoken to quite a number of organizations. You are from a medical organization. I would really like to ask you, from your observations over the past month, what is some advice that you would like to give to, first of all, other organizations? What can they do for their safety? And our fellow Guyanese who are looking at this particular broadcast and really want to know what other measure can they put in place to keep themselves safe?
Well, actually, my first advice, and I'm giving you strictly as a non-medical person, is to continue to stay at home if you don't need to go anywhere. Um, Follow the advice being given daily. It's in the newspapers, it's on the television, it's everywhere. Just follow that advice. It makes the work of medical professionals harder when persons don't practice social distancing and wearing masks when out in public. So for me, that is one of the major take-home points that we need to give to our fellow citizens. Now, we are all in this together. This is not about me and you and nobody else. This is everybody, the whole nation. So we all have to work very hard to keep the virus down and make sure that our loved ones are protected and not taken away. So I think for me, that is the most important aspect of this exercise that is being done and the seriousness of COVID-19 or SARS-CoV-19 as it's called. We have to do our part and we have to ensure, I know the Rotary clubs are doing quite a lot, or I should say, well, Rotary Guyana, they're doing quite a lot and they're actually encouraging people to wear a mask and stay home. We would like every one of us who might have a business or might be talking to people in a social environment, at the banks, everywhere. We need to remind people that they have to wear their mask and they have to practice social distancing.
Yeah, what we don't want is that, people have to regret when they really could have been taking this advice all the time,
Exactly. Exactly.
and not to put unnecessary strain on our health facilities as well.
Yeah, because yeah, it's very, very difficult when you're doing all that you're doing. I mean, wearing protective equipment is not an easy task. It's a very hot and humid environment around you when you have to put on those complete medical outfits to
Yeah,
protect yourself. So people don't realize how hot the doctors and the entire medical professionals are when they wear these outfits. So we need to take into consideration that all these things are happening to protect ourselves, and people need to continue wearing their masks.
yeah,
Pregnant mothers need to use their vitamins and continue in their vitamins. There's a lot of zinc. They need to continue doing that. And pregnant mothers especially should be wearing their masks
yeah,
at all the time. I mean, again, I'm not a medical professional, but I am sure that the doctors will agree with that.
yeah. No, definitely, and even for us as well, we're making sure that everyone takes their supplements to keep their immunity levels at a very high level, so that they don't, put themselves at risk. Deborah, I would really like to thank you for taking the time out to speak with me here today. Is there anything final you would like to share with the viewing public?
No, I will definitely give more information as it comes on hand next week as we move towards setting up our isolation center. Thank you very much for having me.
Welcome, welcome. And as soon as you're ready to do that, just let us know, and we'll also provide you with this particular platform to get the message out. Thank
Okay,
you very
great.
much, and have a fantastic day.
Thank you. You too.